Hi everyone, welcome to analysis compilation number 31. We're going to start off today's video with a clip from one of my sons who unfortunately had a collision at the roundabout that we're approaching. But first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to drive through the roundabout, let you have a look at it, and it's probably going to help us understand what went on with the clip a little bit more. So this is Muirhead Avenue, coming down onto West Derby Road in Tubebrook in Liverpool. And this roundabout up ahead is a little strange. It's a changed priority roundabout. Road planners sometimes do that when there's a need for flow from a particular direction. So effectively, as I come through this, I've got to give way twice. It can get pretty busy down here in the mornings and in the evenings. This is a Sunday and it's 20 to 11. And as you can see, there's still a little bit of queue in cars. I wonder whether anyone's going to give way to this pedestrian. Looks as though he's going to find a little way out. That's good, that's nice to see. I don't think I've ever seen one of these car vertical reports with this many photos. There's over 50 of them. And it shows exactly to the extent that this Volvo was damaged. But also, they show what the car looked like after it had been repaired. Whoever did repair it seems to have done a pretty good job, because it's actually in these photos up for sale at a Volvo specialist. All good. But it's the mileage record that would give me more cause for concern. It looks as though there's a few points on this record that could indicate that the mileage has been rolled back. This, of course, could be an inputting error. But if we look at the very end, from 2022 until 2024, the car's been used very little. All this extra information would encourage me to do a little bit more digging before I spent my hard-earned money on this particular vehicle. But to spend a little bit extra getting your car checked with Car Vertical to give you that extra peace of mind, for me, is an absolute no-brainer. Remember, use the code Ashley. You can save yourself 20% on giving yourself that peace of mind. Thanks, Car Vertical. So both of these lanes can head around towards West Derby Road. And the reason for that is could the right lane go into this road on the left? No. Therefore, the left lane can continue further round. So even though it's slightly off to the right-hand side, it's still perfectly fine and should be treated like a straight on. So effectively, we've got two lanes that go through this giveaway. Try not to block the junction here, as we can see that the Mercedes done and a few of the other vehicles have done, and it's interrupting the flow from this side. So you shouldn't actually commit until there's enough room. Even the Fiesta here to the left hasn't done a brilliant job, the white Fiesta. Interestingly, the same lad of mine who had a crash here actually failed his driving test here for doing exactly what we've just mentioned a couple of cars have done. In any case, back to the roundabout. I'm not going yet because I would end up blocking this junction. If people get a little bit impatient, let them get impatient. Just literally sit here, you're doing the correct things. That's less of a problem, but it's still an issue. As you can see, I'm allowing the flow of these two vehicles past. Now there's room for me to clear. Now there's not, because of the BMW. The BMW went in there, and there's people beeping. Interesting. So there's room now, a couple of cars in there. And as you can see, that there's two lanes that head around to this right-hand side. We've got a giveaway. It's a little bit on a funny angle. You have to honestly sometimes get your passenger to move their head out of the way for this. Looks as though they're letting me go in there as well. Thank you. That's very kind of you. So notice I went from that left lane into the left lane, and the cars that were in the right lane went into the right lane. I think we've got enough information now to go back and have a look at this first clip. We can see the Mini at the front of the queue in lane 1. This is the other vehicle involved in the collision. But something else a little unusual. Watch the boot of this vehicle in front. It's quite likely that driver didn't even notice. There's a good space to emerge and we can see the Mini again on the left hand side. The van in front of the Mini gives us a good demonstration of how it should be done, exactly how I've just done it in a clip before. And pretty obviously the red Vauxhall in front takes that same space. With having to give way to traffic from this left hand side, usually both of these lanes can emerge at the same time. And they do, but not into the correct place. Now you've seen the clip, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail of it in a moment, but I'd just like to ask this question first of all. Without looking and without taking any observation, would it be okay for me to just blatantly lane change and move out to this lane too? No, it wouldn't, would it? Well, that's exactly the same as the driver of the Mini did. All of the liability was put onto the driver of the Mini also, thankfully. My lad's insurance is still probably going to go up, and that's unfair. However, let's do as we normally do and go into a little bit more detail of maybe was there anything that could have done or could have happened differently. Without the view to the left hand side, it's impossible to tell whether my lad could have delayed his move off or done it a little earlier. However, you wouldn't expect anyone from this left lane to be moving straight into the right lane. Now the van from lane 1 has moved on, the view's going to be reasonable. And if you think about the situation, when there's a gap to go, why would you actually need to be looking over your left shoulder behind you to proceed forward to the right? You should be looking over here. My lad nearly got onto it as well. Let me know what you think. Is my opinion skewed because it's a family member? So there's that one done. We've still got a few more clips to look at. Let's go. The next clip that we're going to look at happens at a six-way junction just outside Burton-upon-Trent. This one happens quite quickly, so we're going to be watching a vehicle coming out from this road and it collides with a vehicle from the left. Here it is. The driver of the Audi first on the scene, but drives off. Nice. With a collision like this, people could be injured. Make sure that everyone's okay. If we go back to the junction again, yes, there's 6 roads, but it doesn't actually look that complicated. For perspective, it looks as though my viewer was approaching from Forest Road. To be fair, on Google Maps, the road markings do look quite clear, but on the footage, not so. That's still no excuse though. Don't forget, if there aren't any markings, you treat it like no one's got priority. Let's have a look from the opposite side to see what the driver who emerged terribly saw. There is a give way sign, but it looks as though it's tucked in behind this tree on the left. But there doesn't seem to be anything else to cause such a terrible emerge. The junction's quite nice and open. And if we look over the junction at the tree, the lower branches seem to have been trimmed also. No excuses for this. Could the driver of the minibus showed a little more caution? Without question. But if the driver who emerged terribly got this one wrong, honestly, perhaps someone should take the licence off them. And the same should definitely be said for the driver of this blue Citroen in front of my viewer. A little quick warning for this clip, it does show a cyclist getting knocked off, but they're not seriously injured. Here's the cyclist coming down this hill from the opposite direction. That driver didn't even look as though they stopped. My viewer stops and is first out without hesitation. The cyclist's speed was reasonable, although it was downhill, and I would have hoped for a little bit more visibility. However, this is solely on the motorist. You can see the cyclist at this point has stopped pedalling, but this for me is another incident where dropped bars on road bikes don't allow the rider to get to the brakes as efficiently as they could do. I would have hoped to have been able to stop here. But that driver didn't even brake. They literally just drove straight through that cyclist. That's a disgrace. As you may have heard recently, I have had some problems with my storage. If you sent this video in, or you're this unlucky cyclist, please get in touch and let me know the outcome of this. Hopefully that driver was prosecuted for such carelessness. It's good to see the cyclist sitting up. To finish, we're going to be watching the driver of this silver estate car in front of my viewer. They're getting impatient because there's some slow moving vehicles up ahead. We'll see them in a minute. And they eventually decide to do an overtake at a poor time. I don't actually know what goes on in this clip. Wonder whether anyone's got any other insight. It's pretty obvious they collide with something, but I'm not certain exactly what. Have a quick look at their following distance with the Fiat in front of them. They're not going to be able to see much from there. This driver spots 4 vehicles and then a motorbike coming in the opposite direction. They then go for it. And it's 4 vehicles, including a couple of trailers, that they're trying to overtake. They don't accelerate quickly, and they're left in no man's land.
Oh, you're risking it there, mate.
My only theory is perhaps one or both of these vehicles towing the trailers braked when they saw the oncoming vehicle and this guy overtaking. Did the driver of this silver car then go into the back of one of the trailers? Perhaps the nearest one to us. In any case, I'd like to say a massive thanks to all my viewers for all their contributions. If you haven't done already, please click that subscribe button, like and share. Keep safe everyone, I'll see you all soon. What do you think went on here?